Pete Hegseth is going to get his appearing before the Senate Armed Services Committee, not a sham hearing before the American media. We believe that Pete Hegseth is the right guy to lead the Department of Defense. That's why President Trump nominated him. We're not abandoning this nomination. We're not going to make it easy for people to allow them. Who our Secretary of Defense is Donald J. Trump, who just won an election by a very significant consent of the United States Senate. That's who determines who the Secretary of Defense is. I fully support Pete. I think Pete's going to get confirmed, and we are completely behind him. I have talked to Joni. I've talked to a number of my colleagues about this nomination and about other nominations. All I'm asking is that people actually allow the Senate process to work. We do not determine important government officials based on anonymous sourcing from the American media. We determine who our officials are through the nomination process, the advice and consent process of the United States Senate. That's how it should happen, and that's how the president's nominees are going to work through this process.
Well, I thought it was a great meeting. It was productive. It was frank. It was maybe even a little uncomfortable at moments, but we're all adults, and I was very pleased. I asked a lot of tough questions. He had all the right answers. And more importantly, I believed him. You know, a lot of people are trained to give good answers, but you don't always believe him. I believed Pete, looking him eyeball to eyeball, talking to his wife a little bit. But also, you know, in preparation for that and since, I've looked at a lot of the allegations and who the allegations are coming from, and more importantly, the lack of names associated with these allegations and faces. And I'm just more convinced that this has been more of a smear campaign with a lot of exaggeration. And Pete and I may have some disagreements on a policy issue or two, but by and large, I like him a lot. I like what he brings to the fight, and it is a fight. I'm glad that he's hanging in there and that the president wants him to hang in there, because I think some things are worth fighting for. And this is obviously Department of Defense and Secretary of Defense is a very, very important position in any administration, but particularly at a time when the world is on fire, American leadership is in high demand. Yeah. And I think Pete's the kind of leader we need.
Well, when I was in the White House for 4 years, I established my Be Best initiative, and I also successfully brought it overseas and around the world. Was very successful. And after I left the White House, I established my Web3 and Web2 platforms, where I design, where I have collectibles like ornaments. Every season, this is the third season, and many other collectibles that are available now. So with those, I have students from a foster community that I sponsor, and I'm very proud of, and we have many of them now, so their life changes because they will have an education. Sure.